Hey everyone, I'm Pam, owner of GVST Wellness in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. We are a whole body, as in physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and energetic wellness center. We like to say we're a spiritual YMCA. Like, we have fitness classes such as step aerobics, Zumba, and yoga, but we also have tarot reading and astrology classes. We have one-on-one services such as massage, Reiki, and mental health therapy. What is unique about us is that our class packages and membership cover fitness classes, but also group therapy led by our resident therapist. When we said whole body wellness, we meant it. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at GVST Wellness or check us out at gvstwellness.com. Lastly, a huge shout out to our community at GVST Wellness. You make us what we are. And thank you to our sponsors, GVST Social Media, and our wonderful recording studio, Probably Awesome Records. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Okay, welcome to the first ever GVST Wellness, the podcast. So this is season 1, episode 1, GVST origin story. I'm Pam Ferrara and I own GVST Wellness, and I'm joined by Stephanie.
Hi.
So I thought we could start by just kind of introducing ourselves. So again, I'm Pam and I started GVST Wellness in April 2021. I have a wonderful husband and 3 children. Mm-hmm. I just recently learned that alarm clocks are keys to life with dealing with waking children up. So I just continue to grow and learn with business and with family.
Momming.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Stephanie Naddaf. I teach yoga at GVST Wellness, as well as outside of GVST. I teach a yin class there right now, and our tribe meetings together, which I love. Our women's circles.
Yep. Same thing.
Yeah.
If you're interested in following myself, you can find me at Pam's Random Reviews on Instagram, where I was nominated twice for Social Media Influencer in Our Detroit magazine, which that voting's coming up again. So
yeah.
I think it's
that time of year already?
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I feel like time is flying by.
Yeah. But I thought that we could talk about just the beginnings of GVST, the beginnings of our friendship, and kind of how that has grown. And if you know Stephanie and I, we can talk forever. So, like, after tribe meetings, we literally stand in the parking lot for like 2 hours.
In the cold.
Yeah, in the cold. Or
in the rain.
Yeah.
In the wind.
And Jim,
we're like, this is fine.
And I'm just getting texts from Jim like, hello. Hello, where are you?
It's like that one video you sent us where women say goodbye to each other.
Oh, and it takes like 30 minutes to actually say goodbye.
And they're holding their hand out. Wait, one more thing.
Oh, and I forgot to give you this. Oh, and I forgot to tell you.
Here's this recipe that you didn't ask for.
Yes. So some months I only see Stephanie like once a month, but that's how like it ends, is us catching up, and it's always so nice.
I know, there's always so much to go over. Yes.
So, okay, GVST. How did it start? What happened? Where did this come from?
Taking it back.
All right, so there once was a stay-at-home mom named Pam, and then there was also this little thing going on called the global pandemic, which
little thing,
which Pam had a hard time about. Yeah, so I had a hard time during the pandemic. If I knew what I knew now, I think I would have been a lot more calm, but I didn't know. The uncertainty was really freaking me out. So kind of in the midst of that, it almost was like it propelled me on kind of a finding yourself journey. And being a stay-at-home mom obviously is fantastic. Children are amazing, and I just didn't feel like I had anything that was just mine. So I ended up starting Pam's Random Reviews. That's actually like step 1 of GVST.
Where it started.
Yeah.
And like your social media.
Yes, yeah.
Did you have a personal Instagram before that?
I did. But I just like follow celebrities on it. Right. But I like made a new one called Pam's Random Review.
Yeah.
And from there, it kind of led me back to my spirituality. And so maybe a few months after Pam's Random Review, I started talking to some people that were more into, yoga and mindfulness and breath work. And it reminded me that that was something I used to be into in my early 20s. But since then I just kind of got busy with life, and life ebbs and flows. So, I had 3 kids almost back to back. So, I was like, I want to start these meetings of women who are, and I always say this, not like-minded. I like to say like-intentioned.
I love that.
Which what is it? Star, whatever it's called. Asterisk, where you're like, how it's like a footnote. So footnote, like-intentioned women. Footnote, credit to Jessica York, who one time said that to me, intentioned people instead of like-minded.
I love it.
So I like that
because we can think differently, we can have our own belief systems and such, but we're coming together with the same intention.
Yes.
It brings us together still.
Yes. So
I love that.
Yes, of course, Jessica. So the intention of community, of wellness, and exploring spirituality and personal growth. So my first ever quote tribe meeting is what the original class was through Good Vibes Sister Tribe. So GVST stands for Good Vibes Sister Tribe. As we progressed and we started to have stuff that were open to men and children, that's when I just changed it to GVST. Fun fact, I own Good Vibes Sister Tribe, trademarked. I literally spent thousands of dollars to trademark it, and I get it for the next 5 years. Jim, my husband, was like, well, I'm glad that you own that and you don't use it. So
wait, what?
I literally have trademark Good Vibes Sister Tribe. No one else can use that.
Oh, okay.
I can cease and desist people if anyone uses it. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes. So our first tribe meeting was April 2021, and I had a different yoga instructor at the time, which I'm very thankful because she really, she donated her time to help me out and do that for me. So after our first, rewind. A tribe meeting was our original class, and a tribe meeting is 2 hours, and it is a yoga led by a yoga instructor. I'm not a yoga instructor. And then I lead a meditation, some affirmations, and then I lead a sharing circle. And when women get together and share, it's just so beautiful because we can connect as moms, daughters, sisters, lovers, friends. It's just so beautiful. And on a soul level.
In a vulnerable, safe container for it.
Yes.
Oh, I'll start crying already because that was the bread and butter, baby, of GVST. That was, I think what gave everyone who was new to GVST, gave them this intro, we're getting into it. I don't have to say anything, but holy crap, I can if I want to. Yeah. And that, I think, even just one time someone comes, you can see that, it makes a difference for them. So
you're so
I'm
good.
going to take a little scoop back from the table here.
So I don't know if I ever told you this, but the very first tribe meeting, I ended 45 minutes early because the place I rented was in Ferndale. It was a photography studio.
Not the one I was at, the one that you did
I don't think you've ever been there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, was that photography studio in Ferndale? Were you ever there? It was
we
a
did
really
one.
long,
yeah, we
room.
did. That's when I met Mary. Shout out Mary.
Yeah. Mary Mazur.
Yeah.
So yes, okay, you were there then. So that was where I rented the first and second tribe meeting, and I rented it by in 2 hour increments, and I was so nervous about going over that 2 hours that I ended the meeting 30 minutes early, and I didn't even realize it. I was just oh my God, I was so nervous for that meeting and the meditate. I practiced the meditation. Now I walk in and I'm like, no, I'll just say something.
You're what do we need today?
Yeah.
Let me feel this out
exactly.
first. Yeah.
Okay, so the first 2 tribe meetings, we just had, very few people show up, but still 3 or 4. Yeah. Great for
still
something
potent.
That just started.
Yes.
And they were good, solid people.
Yes.
Shout out to my OGs, Lori, Bonnie. They were my first ones, yeah.
And shout out Olivia Shobe.
Yes,
for connecting us.
So then May 2021, we had I was I'm going to have a dance party here. And I had a good handful of people that said they were coming. And then the day
this is after the tribe meeting, the first.
Yeah.
Okay,
so this I think was after the first and second tribe meeting.
Okay.
And the yoga instructor who was with me said she could no longer continue. That's okay. I get it. And so we had this little dance party, which half of the people who were coming canceled day of. So it ended up just being me and Melissa Shobe and Olivia.
Aww.
And so
the cutest though to have a dance party
so
with.
Great. We had a great time.
I hope I'm not screaming into this.
No, and I'm like yes. You know.
I'm like love them.
So I was like, guys, oh my god, I need a new yoga instructor. You know, I want to continue this and do a meeting in June and stuff. And Olivia's like, you need to message my friend Stephanie. And I was like, okay. So I go to this woman's, Instagram the next day, Stephanie. There's nothing on there. Still isn't.
Guilty.
And
you're like, does she do yoga? I don't know.
And so I messaged her, and I think you answered like a week or two later.
What, did I really?
Yeah.
Oh,
but no, that was totally cool. And I was
Okay.
like, hey, I need someone to, like, this is my vision.
Yeah.
I need someone to do the yoga portion, you in? And you were pretty much like, okay. And
Yeah.
you just like showed up the day
Well,
of.
it was so crazy for me too, because that summer, I think I had moved in with my brother in Madison Heights. And I was like, I'm just ready to teach more yoga. I'm putting it out there. I lit a candle and said a prayer. And then I looked into my message requests since we weren't friends. And I saw that
good thing you even looked in there.
I
Because
know.
sometimes people don't check that.
I usually don't. I mean, I don't even check my regular direct messages. So I was like, oh, who is this? And then you opened it with being like, oh, I know your friend Olivia. So then immediately I was comfortable with that because me and Olivia have been friends for a really long time. And I was like, if Olivia's, recommending me to something, like, I didn't even have to ask you more questions. I was like, oh, you need me to teach tomorrow at the park? I'll be there. I'll see you then. And I can't wait to meet you. It was like no question. It was like a no-brainer, which is like some part of faith too, because like I said, I knew I had put the intention out. I'm ready to teach a little more. I'm ready to, meet more community and whatever. So your message was like, of course this message came in,
Perfect timing.
Yeah. So it was cool. And then that first meeting at the park.
How did you feel? I don't know if I've ever asked you this. Like, what were you thinking when you showed up, and how did you feel at our first tribe meeting? We had it at a park in St. Clair Shores.
Okay, so I remember being like, oh
Outside.
Man, like first thought, obviously, like I've never met this lady. I hope she likes the style of yoga I have to offer, and I hope it's a good fit for what you're doing. And I remember saying in my car, I was early, which
What?
Stop it, Pam. We are recording, lady. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Just kidding. I was on time early. And I remember sitting in my car just being like, yeah, this is going to be good. Olivia's going to be there. Like, I don't know. I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
I felt comfortable. Also kind of like, I have no idea how this is going to go, but I'm just doing it.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I know. It was really natural. So after
It
that,
felt very natural.
yeah, we had a good turnout that one. That was a good little tribe meeting.
It was.
And so if you watch the reel that I made for the intro for this podcast, there's a part that people are outside, and it's like a time lapse.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's from that day. That was from the first day I met you.
I love that video.
We ended up going to, like everyone packed up and we ended up going to the bathroom together, and we were like, wow, that felt like really natural. I'm like, do you want to do it again next month?
Oh my God, it's bringing me
Remember?
memories now, because I do remember going to the bathroom with you.
Yeah. And
Why did we talk like we knew each other? We were
It was just like,
hey.
okay, yeah, see you next month.
No, that's so funny now that I think about it,
Yeah.
because it all ended, we said our goodbyes to everybody, and then naturally we did what we do now, which is, we just walked together, just me and you, and like had a breakdown of, how was it, like this or that.
That was awesome.
I'm like in shock right now thinking about that,
So
because
then-
it felt so natural.
Yes. So then July and August, we had them in the park in Ferndale. And then I think September, October, we did it at Deerbrush, which was Kelly and Erica's place.
Yes.
Yeah. And then eventually I started renting the room from St. Lucy's, and it's all, been a go from there.
I can't believe that.
But it was,
I love looking back into the past right now
I
with
know.
this, because sometimes you're just like, we're moving, baby.
Yeah.
Like one thing after the next. Okay, we're doing this, we're doing that. But to really stop and look back and be like, no, you were really just doing pop-ups.
Yeah. which was crazy.
Big swallow. I'm like, whoa, Pam. That is crazy.
Oh, man. So, and I think we talked about this too, because there wasn't like pressure for us to be friends. It was just such a natural, gradual build.
Yes.
And now, like, we just love each other.
'Cause-
We feel, you know, I feel like you're my sister. I think you
You're
feel
like
that
my
way.
big sis. You're my big sis, Pam.
Yeah.
I look up to you so much.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I think that's a thing too, is like this own pressure of like, well, I don't know you yet, right? But you have this expectation of me, and it's not like a strong expectation, but still it's like a transaction almost. It's like, you want me to come do this thing. I want to come do this thing and do it my best.
Yeah.
I hope it's a good fit.
Right.
Yada, yada. But you made me feel so comfortable, you know? I love the way our friendship grew over time. But even in the beginning, I was like, oh, I feel really comfortable with this person. Although on my end of it, it's like my own internal pressure, not huge pressure, but just
Right.
you're hiring me for something. That's what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
it's like there's that part of it. But I felt so comfortable with you, and you made me like, this is how you make me feel. Like,
Aw.
shake it off. That's how
Yeah.
you make. And then I love that you did that song at the karaoke too, because you just made me
Jane
feel like,
here,
yeah,
shout
it's no
out
big
Jane.
deal. Like,
Yeah.
it's no big deal. Like, and that's just kind of the energy that you put out all the time. And I think that's why you're doing these like
Thanks.
great, big, amazing things, because you're like, yeah, no big deal. I'm just doing it.
We're just going to talk to each other for an hour.
Yeah, that too.
In front of microphones and a camera.
Yeah, no big deal. You've been under fluorescent lights and cameras before. You know what you're doing.
We talk, so
Yeah.
we'll be good.
Yeah, we flow.
We flow. Okay, so some of the stuff that I wrote down for us to talk about, I thought that it would be fun to throw in. What do you have, like a funniest GVST story or memory? Or I can give you a second to think about it, and I can share one. Anything that was like especially funny?
I feel like it's just because you asked me. I'm having a brain
that's
blank.
okay.
I'm like,
So one thing that sticks out is we have like so many slogans that have started at GVST. And I think it was Marie and Angela, because we used to rent from St. Lucy's Church in St. Clair Shores.
yeah.
We rented from next door, like the old YMCA. We had a room in there, and Angela and Marie would go, hell yeah. And we'd all be like, we can't say hell, we're next to the church. So then it ended up being like, heavens yeah.
Yeah.
And heavens yeah always made me laugh.
Heavens, yeah.
Heavens yeah.
I'm trying to think of other
I feel like there's
shirts.
like so many funny little things.
What is something funny that happened?
That like super came to mind.
I'm thinking of the retreat we did, and I'm like, I feel like something funny happened there.
Oh, the retreat up by Port Huron.
Yeah.
So we did Reflections of Self.
That was fun.
Weekend retreat, November 2021. And that went so well. I mean, like, honestly, to be like, I just started this business, I'm having a retreat, was really ambitious when I look back at it. And we had, 12
But I
people
think
there.
that's what the beauty is of it. It's
Yeah.
like, maybe you don't have to be all this stuff to have to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, now you have a business and all this stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm like gonna host a retreat or whatever. But you were just like, I'm just doing this stuff. Anybody want to come?
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that me, you, and Amber were outside, and we just, like, laughed forever. We went for, like, a walk.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's do, what do you
I'm
have
gonna actually sit on that, because I'm like, what is one of the funniest
You
memories?
can come back to it if you want.
We'll circle back.
Do you have, like, an inspirational story? I have, like, a few in my pocket that I always use as examples. Any inspirational GVST story or memory? I can go.
Go ahead.
So the two that I always say are that after I got my keys for my full-time room at St. Lucy's, I rented a room a few times a month, and then I had a full-time room, and that was my first, like, official, quote, brick and mortar. That was August 2022, so just over a year now that I've actually had a brick and mortar, yeah. And I got my keys on like Sunday, and Monday my laptop broke, and I was devastated. And a woman named Patty, who I just love, and I hope she's doing well, and I miss her. I haven't talked to her in a while. She text me like the next morning and was like, hey, I was just thinking about you. Like, how's everything going? And I was like, oh, my laptop broke. Like, I don't even know what to do. I'm so bummed. And she was like, oh, well, I'm going to be in St. Clair Shores in an hour and I have a spare laptop I never use. Use it as long as you want. It was just like so beautiful that it worked out so well. And things like that happen at GVST so many times. And that's why I know like 99% of the time, the people who come are just the right people with like the right hearts or the right vibration or whatever you want to say. Just like, it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's
obviously,
yeah,
that makes me think of Vicky and all her greatness. Oh, yeah. That's the beauty of GVST is like same intention, completely different types of people, different lives we live, different roles or hats that we wear. Coming together, our hearts bringing us together, you know. Oh, I just want to go be with people, or, oh, I want to go do something good for myself, and that, like, goodness bringing us together. And at one of the tribe meetings, we maybe only met Vicky twice before this.
Yeah, I don't think
Like,
I
was maybe only the third tribe meeting she came to.
Yeah.
I was having car problems, and I just knew my car was on the brink. It was so close to the end of its life. And that night I went to the tribe meeting, and I was mentioning this in the circle, and I was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. I drive at least 30 minutes for all my jobs, my yoga jobs, surveying, all this stuff. And Vicky, at the end of it, came up to me and gave me the keys to her spare car. Her husband had passed away a year prior, and so she was driving his car and had her car as well. And she let me use it for like 4.5, 5 months.
That was
while I saved up money and I worked and everything to get my car. That night, I left the tribe meeting with her keys in my pocket, and I was like, all right, she told me I can come pick her car up next week. Like, I can't believe this. I was still almost like, I can't accept this.
Yeah.
It's just too kind. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't accept that someone would want to do that. And I drove home from the tribe meeting, and I went to park my car in front of the house, and I barely touched the curb, and my wheel rod or something completely snapped and fell off. Like, I could not even drive the car. I couldn't even move it from where it was. I had to get it towed and everything, and ended up getting...
That's crazy that was same night.
The literal same night.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy because, again, we're bringing it full circle that things happen and manifest, and you're not even sure why, but we're all coming there for the same purpose.
Right.
Of like, oh, I'm just here and I'm open. I'm just open to whatever is going to happen, and, you know, people with the same intention, and maybe we can help each other out. And she did not have to do that. I was a stranger to her, you know. So, Vicky, love you.
Not anymore. Yeah, we love
I know.
her.
Now it's like Vicky's like my family, you know, and then her daughter, Rebecca, and we have a relationship now too. So
Very cool.
very cool, yeah.
I was out just working there the other day, and Vicky was in on last Thursday, and she came in and she's like, "Am I bothering you? Can I sit?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, Vicky, talk away."
Oh my God, and she's such a calming.
Yeah.
Excuse me. She's such a calm presence, and makes
She's
me
good.
feel, yeah. Because again, too, of like this internal pressure, like, oh my gosh, I'm borrowing someone's thing and car, and it means so much, and I just want to make sure I'm always taking good care of it and being very respectful to her and like all this stuff. And then I'd see her, and she would just completely dismantle any anxiety I had of like, oh, I hope it's all okay, and like, I hope she's not worried about her car or worried about me. And she just always, oh, honey, take your time, or I hope everything's okay. Like, just always so kind. So
Such a good person.
yeah, we meet a lot of good people through this.
So that leads me to, what is something that has surprised you about GVST? And that was my answer, was that, again, 99% of the time, it's just the right people.
Yes.
And like just how wonderful everybody is to each other and kind.
Yes.
And the very, very, very little drama there is. You know, it's just like, that's like few and far between that.
Yeah.
anything, you know.
It's just support.
Yeah.
It's just support. Like, it's really what you get going to GVST is support. Yeah. Hey, come and get a little bit for the day, and then if you don't come again for months or whatever, no big deal. Yeah. Like, we're here.
And guess what? Next time you come, I'm going to be like, hey!
Yeah!
And give you a hug.
Pam always remembers everybody. Actually, that's a cool thing about you.
Yeah. I try.
I really love that about you. No, you're good at that. You're like, remember that one chick that came 5.5 months ago to this thing once? And I'll be like, oh, man, I'm racking my brain. You're good at that.
I try. Yeah. So I used to work at a chiropractor's office, which is like my origin story of where the chiropractor played The Secret on repeat in every single room for the however many years I worked there. So that's like where I was introduced to manifesting when I was 18. Mm-hmm. Anyways, when I worked there, every patient that walked in, we'd have to go, hi, Stephanie. You know, hey, Tom, like whatever. Like we had to say everyone's names. Mm-hmm. And at first I was like, that's like daunting, you know. I don't know if I'll be able to remember. But you just do.
Yeah.
And so
you
I think
see their face enough and their name on the paper.
Yeah. And so I think it's so funny how everything in my life that I have done has perfectly honed me and led me to be like what I am.
Prepared you to this.
And you and everybody, you know, like.
Yeah. Like in the things you don't realize, like, oh, I just worked this job.
Yeah.
Even like when I think back to when I was in high school working, like, but when I was in high school working that, like, concessions job at the ice arena. Like, even little things like that. Like, you don't realize that they're all building you to something. Like, oh, that gave me the confidence to start working as a server. And like, oh, that built me to the next thing. So
my Pam's Random Review Instagram was actually my like Avon Instagram because I sold Avon for like 6 months.
Okay, Mom.
And I know what Mom.
I've had my third child, so obviously I'm selling Avon.
Sell Avon.
Donna, that's my mom. My mom sold Avon.
Did she? Oh my god.
You know she did.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Probably years.
Anything that I can do that's like anything your mom does, like honored. That's awesome. Yeah.
We love Donna.
We do love Donna. I should start writing down everyone's names who we mentioned and be like, we've talked about every person ever in this episode.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I sold Avon. And so that, it was just like an old Instagram I never ever used. And I was like, I'm going to take that one because it already had like a few hundred followers and I'm going to turn that into Pam's Random Review. But yeah, so Avon led to Pam's Random Review, which led to GVST. It's just so crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what was something that surprised you about GVST?
I think that's what surprised me the most is this like openness of everything is included. Like everyone and everything is welcome into this, and there's such a variety that you don't have to pick one thing. You can explore all the things, and I think that was surprising to me because I think I go to places sometimes and it's like, this is what we're offering or this is what we're doing, and it's beautiful and it's awesome. But I think as I'm getting older, I'm realizing like, oh, I'm a lot of different things, and I like that. You know what I mean? I like that I'm like multifaceted and. You know, so I like that about GVST. You can go and get a Reiki session and then be like, oh man, I'm going to go Zumba in 2 days or whatever, you know. So I feel like that is surprising. But what else is pretty surprising me about it? I think that is just how people come together.
Yeah.
The people I've met, the synchronicities and connections. Yeah. And how much... It's not that surprising, though. I was going to say how much it's grown, but it's like, that's not really that surprising because you nurture it like a baby.
Yeah.
You're like, this is my baby, and it's grown a lot.
So I mentioned before we started recording that I went and rearranged. And
oh, my God, I can't wait to see it.
So
that's exciting. Like the big room, all the rooms. Like
I rearranged a bunch of stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
The fitness room and the main room.
I know. It's a lot by your eyebrows. Like, oh. I'm like, oh, snap.
Ooh, she's really wiggling her eyebrows. Yeah. It's intense.
She really did something.
I worked, I did, it took me like 4 hours, and I thought I was having a meeting with someone, and then they were like, no, next Tuesday, and I'm like, oh, my bad. And I was like, I'm going to rearrange right now. I was so sore. I was supposed to go to a Christmas, like, networking party, and I was like, my whole body hurts. I can't go. And it sounds so lame. Hello, 36. Is that like I moved all these shelves around and stuff and like hurt myself.
I threw out my back.
Seriously.
I won't make it to the party. That's funny.
But
I'm excited to see it.
Oh, what was I going to say? So something about rearranging. I was telling you about that.
Just brings a new energy.
Yeah.
Even though the space is new and you've done, already a lot of different things to it. Or the therapy room now.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for you to see it.
It's cozy.
Okay. So
I have to blow my nose.
Oh, okay.
Can we take a break?
Yeah, pause.
For a second.
Okay, so since we're talking about growth, in your, like from your perspective, how do you feel we're going to do how GVST's grown, how we've grown, like our friendship and how we've grown personally. So why don't we start to ourselves and then grow? So how do you feel, and I can comment on how you've grown too, but how do you feel you've grown since I've met you 2.5, 3 years ago?
I feel, how have I grown?
I think that you have really come into your own. And I think that there were times where maybe you were a little more lost, or I like my brain said damaged, but I was like, I don't know if that's insulting.
No, it's not. Because I really wanted to say it too. I was like, I've been healing for like 3 years.
Yes. So it's been like an honor, honestly, and a pleasure to like watch you in these last, 2.5, 3 years where you have definitely like come into your own. And you also went from your 20s to your 30s now. So like.
That was a huge transition that no one prepared me for.
Yes, right.
So anyone out there, 27, 8, 9, it's okay. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've grown a lot in that way. It was a lot of healing. And that's why I think it was perfect timing for what I needed to. And like you said, sometimes, we wouldn't see each other maybe once a month or something. But in the midst of, you trying to better yourself, just knowing that there's a community or like something there that I could lean on, was really good for me. And it helped me a lot. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll never forget Chrissy, I'm sorry. She was at the one. Yeah.
Chrissy.
Yeah. So she was at the one where we first met. She said something about coming to a tribe meeting or a women's circle where you can share with complete strangers was very like cathartic because it was just nice to have people who had no opinions on what you're talking about or who you're talking about. And she said how healing that was. And I think about that often, actually. How it is just nice. Because sometimes I'll have something bothering me, and I'll say this at tribe meetings. And I'll be like, oh, man, I've been waiting all month for this. And I'll just kind of let loose.
For me, it's like this constant battle between not wanting to be witnessed, but knowing that I need to be witnessed. And so it would be like, it was healing for me to acknowledge what I was going through, even if it was to people I didn't know. It was just about saying it out loud. Like, okay, I've been doing this or going through this for weeks now, but to out loud be like, I've been going through this. It's just a whole nother layer of self-awareness, I think. And then that non-judgment too of like, okay, I'm not saying this to be criticized or to be judged. I'm saying this because I know I'm in a safe space to share that. And that does something to you. It really does, to be like, oh man, I can be messy right now, or I can cry about this and I'm going to be received, and then later be able to have that for myself too. I think that helped me a lot in my growth in the past few years, the sprinkles of tribe meetings throughout.
And I love it because you'll be like, I don't really have much to say. And then you'll end up crying. You'll like just, and it's so funny.
Dude.
I don't really have anything to say. And then you get like emotional. You're the best.
I can't not. I'll be like, I don't know. Because it's like close to my heart. I'm like, I don't really want to share what's going on right now. And I think that is part of the tribe meeting that I liked a lot too, was that it's not demanded of you. You don't have to share. You could say, I'm not sharing today. Like, some people do, and it's totally respected. Every day is different. But I think that feeling of like, I don't have to share, but it's here if you want to. Okay, well, maybe I'll say this. And then next thing you know, you open the floodgates. And you're just
For
like,
real, yeah.
actually, there's a lot I have to say.
Holy shit, buckle up, everybody.
Yeah. Everybody okay still? Yeah, so. But I think I've grown a lot personally with that openness of sharing, the openness of sharing where I'm at. I think I've always been kind of an open person in my life and yet also very private. And so then when I went through this these past 3 years of like extreme healing and like diving into my trauma and things, it was hard to like be witnessed in that at times, but also I leaned into it. And I think that was part of my growth too, was to be like, hey man, it's okay that you're not okay. And you need to just own that also. And I think I kept trying to resist it. I'm not okay, but I'm going to just keep being okay or not let people know I'm not okay. And then I was like, no, I'm not okay, everyone. But that being like really supportive too, you know?
Yeah.
So
Seriously.
it's been a lot in the past 3 years.
Like from leaving St. Lucy's to sitting in your car and you're like, oh my gosh. And I've had days too, like definitely. Oh my God. Stephanie is like one of my favorite sounding boards. I've said that you, and I don't know if I've said this to you, and Mallory like Calorie Mallory, are like two of the most, like you guys are so eloquent with talking about your feelings. Like you can say like, I was feeling this way because of this. I don't know. Like both of you are so great at that.
Yes.
But yeah, it's sometimes I'll see you and it's like I have to update you in the last month. And I'm like, this happened and that happened. And I did this and blah, 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 blah. So it's definitely like you help me and listen to me and are just like a great, great support system for me.
Oh, dude, you've been that for me too.
Good.
So to hear that, I'm like, love it.
Yeah.
Love that I've been that for you because you've been that for me too.
Yeah.
And Mallory too. Me and her haven't had an in-depth emotional conversation, but I can feel that from her too, where she's just like a comfortable person to be around.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh no, you're like emotionally mature or sound or whatever word you want to use. It's like, oh no, you're just comfortable. You know what I mean? So I can see you being like, can I bounce this off you? And she would be real with you, you know, which I think is important.
Yeah.
But you offer that too. I'm sure Mallory probably has the same thoughts about you where you offer that like non-judgment. You're like, hey, whatever it is, that's fine. You can totally share that with me. Like, you know, so.
Nice. So I think that in the last 2.5, 3 years, I have grown just like, oh my gosh, like just through the roof, like in a crazy amount. And I like before I started GVST, I thought that my life was going one way and it was a totally beautiful way. And I would have had a fine, happy life. But then starting this, it just like propelled me into
fine.
Like I never would have thought I would have a podcast. Like, you know, there was never a time where I was like, I'm going to own a business one day.
Yep.
Like that was never a thing. Never. And so, yeah, wow. I feel like as a business owner, you have to look at yourself so much. Like when things aren't going right. So anything that happens within GVST, I like take personal responsibility for. Probably too much. And I don't know if I like say it as much, but oh my God, inside, anything that goes on, I'm like, something.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it where you're like, oh no, a human error. I'm the worst. And I'm like, Pam.
Yeah. Pam.
You're also human. Like you really you don't have like many mess ups, mistakes or whatever, but I always saw that in you where you're like, oh man, I really should have this or that. And it's I just see it as like, oh my God, you just care so much.
Yeah.
You just care. Yeah. And I think other people know that too. Like give you the grace of that, you know, like you're a first time business owner. Like it is new and you're not perfect. No one's perfect, but damn, are you doing a good job? You know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even just but during the pandemic, well, I've had anxiety on and off. And then during the pandemic, it just spiked.
Yeah.
And so I think that, I mean, with the help of a low dose Zoloft and mindfulness and yoga and breath work and this whole new, like, just calm and flexible lifestyle that I'm like, you know, I learned to embrace. I don't know. Like, I just rarely have anxiety, which that was like a huge part of my life from 18 to 32, you know, like that was like, sometimes it wasn't as bad and sometimes it was like crippling, crippling. So
No,
like,
I understand.
and now I'm like on a panel talking to this group, or I'm here and I'm there. And it's like, and then all the people I meet, I honestly feel like just so honored.
Ooh.
Did you get chills?
Yeah, I got chills. I was like, I pictured you as a turtle, and you just like, Pam. I went Pammed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just broke out of the shell. And
Seriously.
you're like, no, but that's the thing is like, you make me so comfortable. Like the times where I felt like, I can't even talk around people right now. I'm going through my own thing so intensely, and whether I shared what I was going through or not, it was like, truth be told, the past 2.5 years are like, intense healing. I was going through a lot. And so to see you, the icebreakers, when we open up the women's circle and like you start with the icebreaker, I just always loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some days I'm having a hard day and I want to be in a good mood or this or that, but I can't hide it that well or something. Like I can't hide how I feel that well. Like it's pretty much right here. Like you know where I'm at, But you always just are like, boom, what's up, everyone? This is what I'm going through today. Like, I thought we could talk about this or talk about that. And it's like, you don't even show a shed of anxiety or a shed of, like, uncomfortability. You talk to everybody like you've known them. You talk to everybody like their family. I swear to God. And even at her birthday last weekend, I just love seeing you bop around. You're like, you know what I mean? You're just like a little social butterfly. You're like, I'm over here, I'm over there. Yeah. What's up? I'm singing a song. Oh, I'm next. I'm singing another song. So you make people feel very comfortable. Thank you. It's a beautiful thing to know that there were times where you weren't comfortable. So that's even more why you know how. Yeah. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, no, I've just always been incredibly confident and comfortable with people. It's like, no, you've really worked on that. And it shows, dude.
Thank you. I know, I definitely have had anxiety. I've never really been shy. So I've joked, oh my God, I was getting my senior pictures taken, like senior of high school with an old friend. And she came with me to like help out. And then they go, the photographer says something like, show me your shy face. And I think I don't even know what my face did. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what that face is.
I don't have a shy face.
Yeah. So I definitely can talk to anybody, but that doesn't mean I'm not like having anxiety about it. But
while you're doing it.
So it's weird. That's again, like with emotions and stuff, like shy and anxiety, like not the same. Like I can feel one and not the other. Isn't that funny?
100%. Because like when I've told you like, oh, I'm shy at times, people will be like, really? You're shy? Like you're pretty extroverted, outgoing. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, but I'm also very shy. And it's something that it's like very, Yeah. But I feel them differently. Yeah. Times I'm feeling shy, times I'm feeling anxious. Yeah. They are different. Shy is more like, oh. Shy, I feel like for me is like, don't perceive me. Don't look at me. Yeah. Or like, I don't want to exist at this moment or something.
What's anxious for you?
Anxious for me is like, am I breathing? I'm like checking my pulse. I'm like, am I alive still? Like, I'm just holding my breath. I'm like, I hope.
Anxious for me is this. Ready? That's like how I feel when I'm anxious. Yeah. I'm just like,
just ahs into the void.
But on the inside, but the outside might be like,
that's literally me.
And the inside, I'm like, yeah. So that's what I am.
Yes.
So what's funny is I feel like who I was in the beginning of my life, so like high school, like right out of high school, or maybe when I moved to Florida, I was in film school, I feel like was who I am now. And then there was a period of...
You in where? You in high school?
Like high school. Yes. I feel like this Pam and high school Pam were very, very similar. Oh my God,
I totally resonate with that because as I'm coming into who I am now, I'm circling back to everything that I loved.
Right.
Everything I loved before I thought I had to be something or do something. Yeah. It's all coming back. Music, writing, all of these things I've always loved. And I feel like I'm rediscovering that person, but me now.
Yes.
So I totally feel that.
Oh my gosh, good. Okay. There's just something in your like late teens, early 20s where you're trying to find yourself. You're adulting for the first time.
Yes.
And then there's also like party culture. So like,
God,
I just fell into the dumbest group of people. I mean, like, not that they were dumb, but like just dumb for me. Were not healthy for me. Yeah. And I was so lost.
It had an expiration. It
Yeah.
was like, maybe it was good for a period,
Yeah.
good times, but yeah.
I feel like 22 to 25, I was lost. And then I met Jim. And then I took on a new role because Jim and I were together for a year before I got pregnant.
Right.
So then I took on mother.
Yeah.
So
and that was
then-
pretty quick, though,
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
Like, boom, boom.
Right. So then I feel like now I'm circling back to that original Pam. Like the authentic, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I love that.
Yeah. I'm glad that you feel that. That's probably common, you know?
You just make me feel so good all the time and comfortable. Because it's like, once again, it goes back to being like, I was thinking this when you were talking. Oh, all the ways I've been inspired by GVST is that I have been around women older than me. So I have an example. Not that I'm like, oh, not an example like that's what it looks like to be that age.
Right.
But as in, hey, you're doing just fine. You're coming into yourself just fine. There's no
Yes.
finish line. You don't have to rush. And then I see women, and like, even when you just said that you were 36, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, duh. And it gives me hope, being like, hey man, you're trying to solve all the world's problems at 30 years old. Chill.
Right.
Where am I going to be in 5 years? Like, seeing you at 36, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, who were you even at 34, 2
Yeah.
years ago to now? And same with me, obviously, from my late 20s going into my 30s was a huge whatever, but it just gives me so much inspiration and courage even to keep going.
We have
you know?
so many great women examples.
Yeah,
honestly,
well then
so
as we were
many.
talking about Vicky too, it's like
Yeah.
Vicky is a woman whose energy I tap into and I'm like, oh, yes, thank you for reminding me of a part of myself too or something, you know, or that I can tap into that. And then I just thought of Pat and how she's just so...
She does have such a calmness to her.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so being around all of these women at all different ages, I think that's what I'm really trying to say right now is that
What a good try.
I could like, connect to any single woman and find me in there also, and I'm sure they find them and me too, and like there's just this connection, you know. So I needed that. I needed that these past couple years of my growth.
Yeah.
I really did. And you don't
Good.
realize because maybe you hang out with people your age or this or that, but I'm like, no, I needed women. I
Yes.
needed community of women at all ages, all stages of life, so I could know, hey man, you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
I'm so glad you said that. Like I
Yeah.
have a mother, but like I never really was close to my grandmother and she passed when I was in middle school. I never had any aunts. So I really didn't have any of like women to look up to or, you know, like multiple other than just like my mom.
It makes
and not
a
that
difference.
that's just, but like, you
No,
know
but
what I mean?
still,
Yeah.
it's like your mom can't do the job of every aunt, grandma,
Yeah.
neighbor woman that you looked at and
Yeah.
thought, oh, she's cool, you know, like your mom was amazing and is amazing. Your mom's amazing, but I feel like
Hi,
we
Mom.
need that in you. Hey. We need that more than we realize. And I think that's the surprising thing of GVST. You're like, oh yeah, it's just all these cool things going on. This is cool. But then once you experience something, you're like, this is deeper than just, oh, I just went to a class. It's like, no, I just met people like me, people who live around the area. Yeah, it's just...
And honestly, so many friendships have stemmed from GVST, different work opportunities, obviously like networking opportunities. I don't know if I told you, but someone hired me as a business mentor. Did I tell you that? Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Wait, for your social media thing or
No,
separate?
just like business. Yeah.
Pam, you didn't tell me that.
Isn't that cool? And so that's who I thought I was meeting with last Tuesday, and then I rearranged.
Wait, that is
It's
so
next
cool.
Tuesday. I'll tell you about it later.
That's like very fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
So,
Yeah, what the heck? You're like, I'm just a new baby business owner.
Yeah, well now
But
I'm
you're
like,
not.
Now I'm like a teenage business
That's
owner.
right. You're like, I have notes. You can look at my notes.
Yeah. And it's funny because you don't know what you know until you're saying it.
Yes.
And like she told me specifically what she wanted to talk about in that our first meeting. And I was like, I threw like some, you know, a little note or graphic together. But yeah, the whole time I was just like, and this and this and that and that and blah, 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 you know? And I was like, oh, I guess I do know stuff.
Yeah, you do. Once you're like going at it, you're like, oh crap, and this and this. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's end with how like not necessarily how we've grown together, but I just wanted to touch on how we fit and work together because I think that you and I are what make like our partnership is what makes tribe meetings or women's circles so successful too. Because I feel like
Okay.
Oh, I feel like the way I approach it and you approach it, it's just like
Very complimentary.
And we fill like both sides of the circle. Like if
Yes.
I have a day where I'm like
Yes.
starting the tribe meeting by crying, I feel like I don't know, like we're always so like.
No, it's literally what just went back. Like, it goes back to me for being like, when you would open it up with an icebreaker, maybe I'm not really having a good day that day, but you just opened it up. You're coming into it being like, what's up, family? People I've met a million times. Like, what's up? I'm like, oh, man, got this thing going on later. I don't know. Like, I don't know. You just... Yeah, the days I don't got it, you got it. The days you're like, I'm kind of whatever. I'm like, I'm good today. Like, I can handle this,
Yes.
you know? And yeah, and that just works out. And then I think we have this like unspoken thing too of like knowing when to kind of like bring things back home. It's just about the energy of it. Like, really, it's like, we're like, okay, here's the container. And we're both like facilitating how it goes.
Yes.
And like consciously communicating, but not really. We just know. We're just flowing.
Yeah.
And it was always like that. It was so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's funny because we're recording this and it's going to be on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've once looked at the camera. I've just been like looking at you the whole time. And
I did a couple times.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, by the way, everyone. And then I'd be like, oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I love and appreciate you.
I love and appreciate you too so much.
Any final thoughts? Anything else?
I don't know. I'm like, do I have a question for you, Miss Pam? What are your hopes and dreams for the future, Pam, of GVST?
Oh, man. You got an hour. No.
Yeah. You're like, and on next week's episode.
Well, I'm very excited for this podcast, and I already have this first season kind of almost mapped out, like maybe 80% mapped out.
Love it.
So it's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
The next episode, we're going to talk about different yoga styles. So we're going to have Kundalini Jessica, Mallory with Lit, and then Bodybuilder Mallory, just kind of taking on basic, like, I'm like, yoga as a whatever. Like,
yes.
So that's
there's so many.
Yeah. So that'll be the next episode.
Like spider webs from it, yeah.
But I want to start breaking into corporate wellness programs. And so we had one this past year. I'd like to do more of those. And just kind of incorporate all the different kind of, wellness we have going around GVST, whether, again, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and bringing that into different corporate workplaces. So that's one. Thing two is, obviously, I'm building GVST to be like a big wellness center. So just to keep on growing and expanding and working with more and more people. So that's the end game. So yeah, end game is you walk into this big old center and you just feel welcome, and there's all kinds of wellness and preventative practitioners there, and it's just
all the healing modalities.
Yeah, a calm and like peaceful and wonderful place. I can't wait to have a space where people can just come and hang out.
Dude, I see it when you're like community center, like just like a YMCA, but a different.
Yeah.
We need that. Places need that.
Yeah.
And I can see it as like a big place, like how people go to the gym. They're like, oh, I'm going to GVST.
Yeah. Or like, I just want there to be like a hangout area. I thought of this the other day. I don't know why.
Like a lounge.
Yeah.
Like a lounge area. No, seriously. Like say someone's like, oh, I want to go study, but I don't want to go to the coffee shop. I want to go to GVST. Yeah. I know I'll be supported by the vibes. You know?
Or even like, I wonder who's up there today.
Yes.
Like, I want to go hang out.
Yeah. Or like, hey, meet me there. Let's take a class and then study after. Like, it's just full on support. Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually my like end, I don't know, game or vision is, you walk in and there's like all locally made products, mostly in the holistic and wellness realm, gift shop. And then there's a cafe and with, vegan, vegetarian, and then whatever, some standard American cuisine or whatever, because I'm not vegan or vegetarian. Not yet. I feel like I might go there one day.
Cuisine.
So you can get your vegan whatever, and then you can get your burger. No, I don't know.
Come and get these stuffed shells.
Jim's in the back.
Shout out,
cooking.
Jim. Yeah.
He was like, I'll make stuffed shells for the Christmas
That's
party,
right.
and then I'm leaving.
already...
I'm going to come say hi, and then
Jim,
I'm leaving. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to him.
I
You
asked
better
him.
drop him off.
I know. I was like, are you going to listen to our podcast? And he was like, probably not. And I was like, oh, I'm going to say so much crap about you, and you won't ever even know.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
And then I was like,
you should tell him, be like, actually, Steph had a lot to say about you.
Yeah. Well, then I was
I'll be
like, just kidding. There's nothing to say about you. You're wonderful.
Stop. You guys are so cute. I'm going to say this is that I noticed like you put that birthday video up on Facebook or something, like from your birthday. And you always end it with a picture of you and Jim.
He's my man.
I know, but I realized that when I watched that video, it was like sweet songs, sweet memories, and then like the ending was you and him, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like that's a thing. Like you always are like,
I know we might not always get along, but I just love that guy.
That's life.
Oh my God,
stuff.
yes.
But that's again, just to be like, Pam, you're great because you make everything reachable.
Yeah.
It's like, life isn't perfect. Like not everything is perfect all the time. Relationships have their ups and downs. Yeah, maybe you and him have your things sometimes, but y'all love each other. You guys have an amazing family.
Thank you.
3 amazing kids.
Aww.
Yeah.
Hi, Cecilia, Sophia, and James too.
And James too.
And Mr. Meowgie, our new cat.
Yes. Meow, Mr. Meow Meow.
All right. Well, I think that's it for episode 1.
Very cool. Thanks for having me, Pam.
Thank you so much for being here. I adore you. I wouldn't have started this any other way than with you. So, yeah.
That makes me want to cry. I was like nervous, like, oh, I don't know. I've never done a podcast. I've never been recorded and mic'd.
Katrina this morning was like, I mean, did you listen to podcasts to practice? And I don't really listen to podcasts because I have 3 little kids who are loud all the time. So listening to things isn't always the best. If I can watch something with subtitles, yes. Or if, now I can, now that James is in school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But, so I was like, I have not, in fact, listened to any podcast to prepare Katrina. And I think it went well.
I think this was perfect.
Yeah.
Even this, I was like, oh man, I wish I maybe looked at this earlier or something. But it's like we're just
the notes.
We're just flowing. Yeah, the notes. But we're just flowing, and I feel like I just want to keep saying amazing things about you because I can't help it because you inspire me so much. So it's like even with this, I'm like I'm nervous. I don't really want to do this. Hopefully, it gets postponed or something. Not actually. Like, I'm always like, we all have our nerves and things. And, the shadow mind being like, no, I don't want to do it. Or, I'm scared to do it or whatever. But you're always like, we're just doing this thing. And you just make it so simple.
Good.
You never put pressure on things. Hey, doing this podcast on Thursday. Oh, hey, it's in a couple days. Like, how's it going? Like, oh, all right, I have these notes and whatever. It's just, like, so easy going. So thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
Yeah,
this is also classic Pam and Stephanie. Like we're like wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Wait, let's keep going. I want to talk about this.
It circles back to that. To like, okay, and this is what we do after women's circles is we try to leave each other and then we're like, one more thing.
All right. Well, I think
By the way,
it.
you're great.
You're great. All right. Well, thank you. And I hope everyone tunes in for episode 2.
They will.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks again for listening. Follow or subscribe to get notified when new episodes come out, which will be every 3 weeks. If you're in the area, stop by GVST and check us out. Have a great day and be safe.